Right now in a few seconds. Let my cameras warm up on Facebook. All right, and on the mighty YouTube. Okay, guys, thanks for subscribing to my YouTube channel. All right, I appreciate when y'all watch these darn things, that's for sure, and take action and make some money and join and take some products and make you feel sexy and badass. All right, and if you're watching me live on Facebook, right on. I've been doing this since about 2005 or 6 or 7. I can't remember when Facebook popped into our lives and consumed everything we do, including Instagram and TikTok, and Twitter is now X, and then Threads is out there trying to clone Twitter, which was I don't know, not my favorite. I don't really do a lot of Twitty. I really am not into Threads, and TikTok. It's annoying to me, but they're all free. Okay, all social media is free if you have a cell phone, of course, a little bit of Wi-Fi or a home computer. But if you're on social media, why not why not get paid? Okay? I asked myself that a long time ago. I said, "Self, you post more than anybody, more than teen girls on Facebook. And why don't you monetize that? You like YouTube, why don't you make money there?" And I just asked myself, um, do you like being a jackass? And I said, well, I guess so, because I've been posting for free for a lot of years. Video and uploading events, maybe things I've done with my radio shows of Pure Rock Radio and my nightclub days, and of course my truck driving days. And now here I am doing this LiveGood thing, and it still cracks me up every day that I'm actually successful as a mofo in this company. Okay, because I'm not a background. I'm not from the background of trying to sell something or to promote something online. Okay, other than fun, maybe posting obscene things that gets me banned on Facebook a total of 9 times over the last, God, I think 5 years. I haven't been suspended on Facebook for like going on like a 1 year anniversary. That's pretty darn cool. It's a frickin' miracle. Every time I try to do something a little crazy, a little entertaining, ooh, bitch slap. Man, I get bitch slap on the mighty Facebook. But it's my favorite social media platform. Okay, because you can do video and you can do pictures and inbox people, and you can either do a live video like this or maybe just text. Just put, hey, it's hot today, and not even do a picture. But Facebook's hard to beat, and I think most of us, we do Facebook. And if you're going to do an opportunity like this, why not take advantage of it? Because it's free. All right. You can pay for ads, but I don't think you need to do that. I think if you post with a purpose and be entertaining and fun, people will find you. Now, if you're already posting away personal stuff or family vacations, or I don't know, maybe your favorite color, or it's fun to upload and scream at NFL football teams or basketball teams, or I don't know. I mean, Facebook is kind of a live, it's like a scrapbook, I think, because one of my favorite things to do is go to the memories. You know how you can go to memories and go back 1 year, 5 years, see what you're doing 10 years ago. And what blew me away today, and if you guys are watching this live, if you want to see something that's quite shocking, is behind the scenes footage of a 2011 race that me and my radio co-host, the great Jamie Valley. All right, Jamie Valley, he has passed away a couple years ago, but Jamie and I went down to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We lived in Vegas. I was there almost 10 years. He was there, I think, 20 or 30 years until he passed away a few years ago. So Jamie and I, we went down, and the Las Vegas Motor Speedway is for NASCAR. But they decided to do the finals to the F1 racing. I'm talking Franchetti, Will Power, Dan Wheldon, Danica Patrick. I'm talking the F1 cars that go 230 miles an hour. And they are not that safe. They have open tires. You guys know F1 racing. It's quite popular. It's getting a little popular here. And in a week or two, they are going to have a race in Las Vegas for a week where these F1 racers are going to be going down the strip at 200 miles an hour. It's a very pricey event. If you don't have 2 to 5 grand, you won't be going to this. You'll probably have to watch it like I'm going to be. But anyway, going back to 2011, and this is kind of a bummer of a story. Anyway, we went down to the race, and I had some laminates, I think from a Jackal and Steel Heart concert at Feel Goods down there, which is a rock bar. And I just put the laminates around my neck, and I started walking around the place like I was part of the camera crew. And Jamie was like freaking out, going, God, we're going to get kicked out. And I'm like, oh, God, don't worry about it. All they're going to do is put us back in the stands. So Jamie and I, we walked down on the track, and then we got in a group of people, and we walked inside the main building in the middle of the track, and we rode the elevator up. And here we are. We're like in the corporate headquarters of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And there's television cameras, and this is a big deal. This is the final to the F1 series. And it's normally Europe and going through Monaco. And, F1 racing is not a circle going 200 miles an hour. Okay? It's just not. But they decided to do it in Las Vegas and do a $5 million purse. Now, the week before, Dan Wheldon won the Indianapolis 500. Okay? So, with Big Machine Records, which is Taylor Swift's record company, and some other big artists, they got together, ponied up a lot of money with, I think his name is Ecclestone, the owner of F1 Racing. And we're talking Dario, is it Dario Franchetti? He was married to Ashley Judd, the famous actress, who's sisters to Naomi and Winona. And rest in peace to the mom. I know she passed away too as well. But I was walking around with my laminates on. I saw Vince Neil and Brent Woods hanging out, and I was filming, just having a great time. So I walked by Danica Patrick's pit stop area, and I ran into her husband. I was talking to him. He's my age, and Danica's like 10 years younger or so. And I saw Danica's almost like twin sister. She had brown hair or blonde hair, where Danica has dark brown. And I ran into the fire crew of Danica's, and it ended up being people from up here, the West Jordan Fire Department. So they recognized me and they go, hey, let's just go down by Danica's place and we'll hang out. So I'm filming all over the place like I'm part of NBC or NASCAR series or whatever. And I'm in the middle of the grass area and I'm filming all the racers. They're on this big podium. And it's like number 42, Will Power, Danica Patrick, and I'm filming all this. And I see Dan Wheldon, and I give everyone coming down the stairs, I'm filming and I have my hand up giving them all high fives. You can see all this. Okay? So if you want to go down below this video, I put about 10 to 15 videos, okay, of this event. So, man, I'm riding high. I mean, Jamie and I, we are having the best time. It's exciting. I met Mario Andretti, and I think it was his daughter, and we're just filming around, having a great time, and then it's time to race. Now, these cars are mid-size. NASCARs are pretty good size. They're you know how big a normal car is. That's how big NASCAR racing is. But I've never seen these F1 cars. They're a lot smaller than I thought. And they go a lot faster because I've seen a lot of NASCAR at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And all it is a big oval. And it's only like a mile. It's not a big oval at all. So this, if you can see my finger, this is about how fast NASCAR racing is. Okay? F1 is like this. So I noticed, on your mark, get set, go, all the cars started racing. And I noticed there was tons of sparks coming from underneath the cars. And someone goes, yeah, when they start racing, the tires are really low. And when they start get about 10, 15, 20 laps in, the tires will fill up and then the bottoms of the cars don't scrape as bad. And usually the first 5, 10, 15 laps, you take your time. Just get to know your car, the tires, is the engine revving good, Well, with this $5 million purse and with Dan Wheldon, who just won the Indianapolis 500 there, he was in last place. So they put up all these 4K cameras in all of the cars. And I could tell within 1 or 2 laps that this was crazy. Because like I said, I'm used to the NASCARs going like 180. Well, these guys were going 220 into the curves. And I'm freaking out going, this is going to be batshit crazy. So number 5, number 6, number 7. I'm standing there. I've got, let's see, Vince Neil. I remember Brent Woods, you guys know from Wild Side, and he's now the guitarist of Sebastian Bach, but he was also doing some guitar work with Vince Neil. So I just remember watching, going, this is nuts. Look at how fast these cars are. And it seems like they're trying to win the first 5, 10 laps. Because in the back of my head, I'm like, that one guy said, no, they just go kind of slow the first 10, 20 laps just to get the cars warmed up. I'm like, I don't know about that. So I'm watching it live. I don't know what's going on, because when you watch the video of it, you can hear what the announcers are saying and what the race car drivers are saying. And what happens on lap 11, some of the cars hit each other's tires. Well, there was an 11, if I remember right, there was a 15 car wreck in turn number 1 where you go left. Okay. And it was lap 11. That means the tires, I mean, these cars aren't even getting warmed up yet, but everyone was racing like their life depended on it. There was like 300 to 500 miles to go. But anyway, unfortunately, 15 cars collided. And Dan Wheldon, who I just gave a high five to about a half hour earlier, who was with his wife and family. Now, when Danica Patrick was done racing this race, she was going F1 to NASCAR. Now, GoDaddy just signed Dan Wheldon to take Danica Patrick's place. So Dan Wheldon, who's from the UK, he had his wife and kids there. Danica had her husband and her whole family there. I was hanging out with them. Well, anyway, on lap 11, 15 cars collided. Well, in last place on purpose, they started Dan Wheldon in last place because he just won the Indianapolis 500, so they started him last. Well, he went over 200 miles an hour in 15 cars that were wrecked. And he shot up, and unfortunately, the car, with his helmet facing outwards, it went up into the chain link fence at 200 miles an hour, and it scraped all the way around curve number 1, right by the O'Reilly sign. I just remember seeing that O'Reilly sign, freaking out. Well, anyway, within 30 seconds, it was mayhem. There was fuel in the air, smoke, fire, parts. 15 cars exploded. Unfortunately, if you go to YouTube and you type in Dan Wheldon, F1 Las Vegas Motor Speedway, in October of 2011, unfortunately, you're going to watch Dan Wheldon take his last race. Now, the race was postponed. There was parts everywhere. I remember my body smelt like fuel because there was just race fuel and parts and just, God, there was mayhem. I was walking around, running around. I didn't know what was going on other than this is mayhem. And they ran up to Dan Wheldon's car and they hurried and covered the whole thing up with a tarp. Well, everyone else had paramedics and people helping, but this car sat all by itself with a cover. And I said, this is not good, because everyone else had instant help with paramedics, people, fire crew. And there was Dan Wheldon's car with a tarp over it. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is bad news. He must be dead. And none of us knew. So anyway, paramedics came. They had, parts everywhere. So for an hour or two, it was dead quiet. I mean, the stands were packed. A half hour before, it was the most exciting day of my life, and it turned into horrific conditions. Everybody was just so, I don't know if you consider it solemn. Everyone, it was almost like a funeral. But nobody knew about Dan Wheldon. His family was there. His kids were there. They rushed him to, a helicopter came in, rushed him to, I'm sure, the best hospital that could take care of him. Well, an hour or two goes by, and sadly, I was walking around filming. And I was right with Danica Patrick. She was right next to me signing autographs, and I was talking, and she bent over to sign shoes. This girl had some shoes, and they were painted like Danica Patrick's car and GoDaddy. So I remember Danica's like, don't worry about it. I'll sign your shoes. And Danica, she leaned over and signed this girl's shoes. Well, she walked back to her area where her pit crew was, and this little motorcycle came in, like a little mini bike, and I was filming her, just randomly taken in, like, are they going to finish the race? Everything was still quiet. Well, anyway, this guy leans over to Danica, And whatever he said, Danica just burst out hysterical. And I think it was pretty obvious that they just said, you know what, Dan Wheldon's dead. And I've got it all on camera. It was all taken by accident. I was just filming. Like I said, I snuck down there. I had laminates of like Bang Tango and a rock concert, but with them flipping, no one could tell like, oh, he's probably with NBC or. But I was down there with the crew. Well, anyway, they stopped the race. They started playing Taps, which is probably the saddest song ever recorded. Everyone was quiet. I was on the field. I couldn't get off the track, so I walked up to the race, well, like where everyone else was lined up on the track. I lined up with all the other race teams because I didn't want to stick out out of disrespect. It was a better choice to walk with everybody calmly to the side of the track and just take our hats off and look down and listen to the bagpipes of Taps. Well, anyway, they had to stop the race. The $5 million purse, the way that it ended, I think that all the points, there was no way to score that race because it only went 11 laps. So I got home that night and I sat there and I could see the replay of everything. And then with YouTube, everybody, YouTube has been around, quite a while, but I sat there for hours watching the footage of like 15 different cameras pick up the footage of that massive wreck and the death of Dan Wheldon. Well, it popped up on my memory tonight, and I went ahead and posted a lot of the videos. So if you guys are watching me right now, if you would like to just spend a half hour and just out of respect to Dan Wheldon, rest in peace, and that's it, guys. You just gotta kind of watch and just see cars that were going 220 miles an hour. I asked myself, did they have any business being on a NASCAR track that tiny and cars that unsafe with big rubber and 220 miles an hour in curves? I mean, just to go 100 miles an hour in a curve's crazy. 220, and the cars are 5 feet, 3 feet apart, and those big rubber tires, if one hits, it flips one car in the air. There's one part where Danica's racing and she has a camera and one of the cars flies right over her head. It goes like 3 feet over her head. And what is sad is Dan Wheldon, he's talking because the TV cameras are like, hey, Dan, how you doing? How's it feel coming from a win with Indianapolis 500? And he's like, hey, man, this is going great. I'd like to thank Big Machine Records. And the camera is facing out his windshield live on TV. Well, you can see white smoke coming up. That's all. There's 14 cars colliding with each other. And Dan can't stop. He's going 220 miles an hour on the straights. He goes around the curves at 200. Well, he goes 200 miles an hour into 15 cars. It lifts him up, and it's horrific to watch it on YouTube with 4K technology because it happened so fast in person. I just couldn't take in what I saw. Everything just was crazy. It was like traumatic. And I just wanted to make a video and just talk about it a little bit. I've had friends get a hold of me all day going, hey, what are those videos? What the hell was that? And I go, guys, back in 2011, 12 years ago, it's one of the craziest, most exciting days to meet people, to be on the track. And I was sneaking there scared. One time a cop come up and asked me who I was, and I started walking off fast, and you can hear in the background, hey, come here. And I just remember Dan Wheldon and Danica Patrick. I put my hand up and she goes, thanks, guys. And I gave her a high five, and Mario Andretti. And I'll never forget, just I didn't really know Dan Wheldon. He had a really cool career. I looked him up today again just to kind of pay respects to him. But it was nice to just, look at his life, read about his life and all of his wins. And for me to witness that in person, it's something that every year I just have flashbacks going, God, I can't believe cars can go 200 miles an hour in that small of time and go around a curve. Because you'll see 200 miles an hour, like maybe on a drag strip or maybe on the Great Salt Flats here in Salt Lake where I live, But to see a car go 0 to 200 miles an hour that fast and go around a curve, it's almost fake looking. And here in another week or two, they're going to be doing it down the Las Vegas Strip. I can't. I mean, it's. I don't have the exact dates, but if you guys just Google Las Vegas F1, Las Vegas, you can't miss it. All the hotels. But what they're doing is they're going to go straight down the strip. Then they're going to go like left on Koval and Paradise, and so they're going to go throughout the streets, and then on the straightaway is going to be the strip. And these cars go 200 miles an hour real quick. They can easily hit 200 in half of the strip. So if they're by Fremont Street, by the time they get in the middle, forget it. They can go 200. If they go all the way the length of the strip, oh my God, they can hit 230 and they're hitting the brakes. So I can't wait to see this race in Las Vegas. I'm not going in person because, like I said, if you look at prices just to go to it or to try to stay anywhere around it, it's going to be about, I'd say, dear, 3 to 5 thousand minimum to go to this and see it and find a place to either sleep or maybe you have an RV and you can park outside of town a little bit or something. But um, I'm just going to play it safe and just stay here in Salt Lake and watch it and definitely just pay tribute and just think about Dan Wheldon and his family. I just remember seeing his wife and his kids, and he was so excited. God, he was moving over to GoDaddy. He was going to be what are the odds that I'm with Danica Patrick's crew? It was totally by fluke that the West Jordan Fire Department knew me. And I'm hanging out with Danica. Dan Wheldon's taking her place. She's moving to NASCAR, and all this stuff happens. And oh my God, I remember even Vince Neil, the lead singer of Motley Crue. We were all shocked. We were all staring at each other. It was just, it's one of the strangest feelings I've ever had because there was no talking. There was no sirens really. There was flashing lights everywhere, but since it was all internal, with the accident, there was lights, but there was no cops and just chaos. I mean, it was chaos in our minds. But God, to watch that again, I was watching some of it on YouTube, and oh my God, it gives me chills. So anyway, I posted some of my raw footage. Uh, so if you're on Facebook watching this, or maybe it's a repeat, you can't miss it. I put about 15 of my videos of that day, and one of them, unfortunately, is you're going to see Danica Patrick receive news that her co-partner Dan Wheldon passed away. So anyway, I'm going to end this. I just wanted to say, rest in peace to the great Dan Wheldon. All right, I'm thinking about you, buddy. Okay, guys. I'll just talk to you guys next video. You guys have a good night.